This is a very elective situation. Schools and principals and teachers can all sign off on this or not. No one is being forced to bring this into their classroom. The backlash it got in the last 24 hours seems a little bit overblown to me. There's no endorsement of violence, no discrimination. It's actually blatantly stated in the goals there should be no discrimination, including Islamophobia or anti-Semitism. Our goal is to bring awareness to the plight of Palestinians. It ties directly into so many elements of the school curriculum, while also not really being present in the textbooks. So we felt that there was a need there, especially given everything that's been happening in the news, to raise this issue in our schools and to allow space for materials to be brought in and discussed and also debated. I think opposing views should be welcome in any classroom, and I think that's very much part of our plan for this awareness fortnight.
Okay, Conall O'Dufaigh there. On the hard shoulder, not the cold shoulder, which for some bizarre reason I said. Alan Shatter, former Minister for Justice. Conall O'Dufaigh says, no harm in this. It's about educating kids. No problem. You disagree?
Well, unfortunately, his depiction of what this group is at is just misleading. It seems that a group of teachers from the INTO and the TUI have come together and created this Teachers' Union of Ireland. It's not clear at this moment, are they endorsed by the full union, by the INTO and TUI? The two unions need to clarify that. This group seemed to come together in November. Last, they assumed a presence on social media, and they've published a website of what I described.
Sorry, Anne, can I just clarify? You said they were known as the TUI. Did you mean Teachers for Palestine?
No. I'm saying this is a group from the INTO and the TUI who've come together and labelled themselves Teachers for Palestine.
Oh yeah. Sorry, just wanted to clarify because you missed. Yeah, I think you accidentally said TUI. I just wanted to clarify. They're not affiliated.
No. I'm saying I don't know.
Yeah.
They advertise their connection to the INTO and the TUI.
Right.
They present as if this is a group that has been sanctioned by the INTO and the TUI, and the TUI to date haven't clarified whether that's the case.
We checked with them, and both unions said they're not affiliated. But look, let's move on to what's happening in the classroom anyway.
Yeah, well, the reality of what's happening here is that was a very benign description of what this group are at. Now, this group, I suspect, are a subgroup of the Irish Palestine Solidarity Campaign, which is avidly antagonistic towards the Israeli state and demonises it regularly. What they have produced is an extraordinarily and very expensive, sophisticated website. I've no idea who's paid for this, which details what I describe as a Hamas curriculum to be taught to school children all the way from first year primary to last year secondary. It doesn't provide for a balanced engagement with children at all. What this particular exercise is about is bringing inappropriately into our classrooms a narrative, the Hamas Sinn Féin narrative of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, to brainwash children. It has very toxic material in it. It will spread hate. There's a false history detailed of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, and it will incite anti-Semitism. And it is entirely and utterly inappropriate this be brought into our schools. What is particularly extraordinary about it is that this is a curriculum, and it's not just a couple of suggestions. This is a very detailed curriculum that has not been sanctioned by the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment. School curriculums are checked by, gone through by, approved by the National Council for Curriculum, and then ultimately approved by the Department of Education. The National Council knows nothing about this. This is a very sophisticated engagement sponsored by some unknown donor, and which is designed to simply spread hate in our schools.
Well, I do have to say, I'm sure they would absolutely dispute the suggestion that it's designed to spread hate. And look, you make a very fair point about the curriculum. It should be the appropriate bodies that decide what is on the curriculum. But I mean, you mentioned, for example, about demonising Israel. There would be people listening this morning, I have to put it to you, Alan, who would say Israel is doing a pretty good job itself of demonising Israel via its actions in Gaza.
What this curriculum is about is allegedly giving children or teaching children a history of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict and then addressing the recent conflict that you mentioned in Gaza. But tragically long conflicts, both of them, with dreadful implications for both Israelis and Palestinians, conflicts that should never have happened and tragically continue.
Yeah.
But what it's doing is giving an entirely inaccurate, dishonest, skewed history. There's no mention, for example, in a video that they want to show in relation to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, of the many attempts to create a two-state solution rejected by Palestinians. There's no reference to the fact that Hamas rules Gaza and the Palestinian Authority rules the West Bank. There's nothing said about the atrocities perpetrated on the 7th of October. Nothing said about people kidnapped, 133 men, women and children still retained in Gaza. This is a very selective, ideological, historically inaccurate attempt to brainwash children within our schools.
What do you say to the argument that, look, kids are talking about this, they're aware of what's happening, and that it's legitimate for teachers in the classroom to talk about this?
Well, of course, some children are talking about it. What's scary, and I heard the whole of the interview done by that gentleman yesterday afternoon, what's scary is the ideological nonsense that they're trying to spread. Look, I'm someone who would like to see this conflict over. I would like to see permanent peace between Israelis and Palestinians, a viable two-state solution with everyone living in peace and security. But this isn't about any of this. What this is about is brainwashing children into accepting a particular narrative. You don't have to take my word for it, because if you examine the website that they've created, there's toxic, one-sided content that gives a completely inaccurate picture of the background to the conflict and of the terrible events currently happening. The website is also obsessed with Jews, not just Israelis. And there's one well-known lecturer who has advocated the elimination of the Israeli state, who made submissions to the Northern Ireland Assembly opposing them adopting the International Holocaust Awareness Alliance definition of anti-Semitism, and who is well known in his antagonism towards Israel, allegedly giving a lecture, a very lengthy lecture on this website.
And let's not focus. If you don't mind, let's not focus on individuals here.
These people have an agenda. These people have an agenda. This isn't a benign.
They would say they've an
agenda
towards educating, informing students about something that is happening at the moment, and most people think Israel's reaction to this has been grossly disproportionate, and we can't shy away from that.